Okay, and we are back with our next in the series of classic video game inspired soaps. So this one is Sonic the Hedgehog themed. So it is going to be called Red Shoes and Gold Rings. So we're doing a tiger stripe swirl, but a very fine one. We're actually going to do, the first layer is going to be red, and then it's going to be blue, yellow, and white, alternating layers all the way up. So it'll be really interesting. It is going to be scented with blue raspberry smoothie from Nature's Garden. We're going to be using titanium dioxide for the white from Nurture Soap, Firefly Mica yellow from Nurture, Brilliant Blue, and Firecracker Micas, all from Nurture Soap Supplies. So let's get started. So as you can tell, I've got a lot of stuff going on here. It's because this has a lot of stuff going on here. So we're going to pour this down. Okay, we're going to go very slowly because this needs to be an incredibly thin trace. Very, very thin trace to do this technique. Alright, there we go. Okay, so first thing we are going to do, drop some, pour a little bit, just a touch into there. We're going to add a little bit more into another one. Not that much. Okay. Okay. So that's going to be our red and our yellow, and then we're going to split this between two bowls. Just adding in my fragrance oils and micas. Sped this up because it just takes forever to do some of these things, and I just thought you would want to get on to the actual soap making. The colors came out really cool. I think so. Very, very quickly, okay? Because like I said, this has to be thin for it to work. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pour our layer of red. So we're going to pour this down here, like that. That's the first thing we're going to do. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pour yellow into our squeeze bottle. Okay. Then we're going to pour some of our white into this, all of our white into this container. It's easier. I'm pouring soap all, oh my God, I'm making such a mess. All right, soap is going everywhere. Roll soap. Okay, there's that. Give me just a minute. I don't really have the time to spare, but I have got to clean this mess up before. And we're going to pour blue into this bottle. Just straight from the bowl. Alrighty, now, time to make the magic happen. Okie dokie. We're gonna bring this a little closer so that you can see what we're doing. Move some of this out of the way. Okay.
So I'm going to speed this up because watching me do lines of soap down the mold for what is legitimately about 15 minutes can get pretty boring. But I think it's cool that as it gets bigger, you can see it kind of come up and fill the mold in a way that you just kind of can't with some other soaping techniques. All right, and so obviously here I've run out of blue soap. So interesting point, because I didn't measure out my soaps before I added my colorants and I kind of eyeballed it. Um, I was trying to eyeball it so that I would have about half and half white and blue, and what I ended up with was a lot more white than blue, which I guess is okay and actually kind of strange considering I spilled so much earlier. But because I didn't want necessarily stripes on the top, just trying to take all of what I've got left and just get it on here as quick as possible. It's kind of hodgepodge all over the place. Um, it's, you know, sometimes you just take what's left in your soap bottles and do what you got. Um, so let's see how this is going to turn out. I'm really trying to do sort of a white top here, but who knows what's going to happen. But it should be interesting. So while I'm doing this and just trying to plop this soap or spray it or swirl it or whatever I'm doing on top of here, um, I figured I'd tell you a little bit about how I was introduced to Sonic the Hedgehog. So obviously as an adult, I love classic video games. In fact, in my house, I currently own every single Nintendo game system ever made. I have the NES, the Super NES, the 64, the GameCube, the Wii U, and the Switch. I've also got a classic brick Game Boy, a Game Boy Advance, and my children each have DSs. So we got a lot of Nintendo, and we have other systems as well. So as an adult, I'm obviously a huge vintage video game junkie. But as a kid, video games just weren't a huge part of my life. We were just not video game people, I guess, like I and my family are now. So my parents didn't buy us video games until my sister and I were a lot older, and our first system was the 64. But when I was a kid, I used to go visit my grandmother a lot, and she had a friend who lived down the road who had a son, and he had a Sega. And I remember going over to her house with my grandmother sometimes, and, they'd sit and hang out, and, me and him, bored. So we would play Sonic the Hedgehog. And I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. And so years and years later, when my parents finally bought my sister and I, a 64, um, I was really sad to realize that I couldn't play Sonic the Hedgehog on this because I did not yet realize that there was a difference between Sega and Nintendo. Trust me, I know the difference now. But yeah, so that was how I got into Sonic the Hedgehog, was playing with my grandmother's friend's son. That 64 that my parents bought us, by the way, I still own. It is in my house. My children and I still play with it occasionally. My sister has multiple times asked me to send it to her because technically it does belong to the both of us. And as she has put it, my turn has lasted a really long time. But no worries, Brandy. Your turn starts about the time my kids grow up and leave the house. So keep being patient. So I was trying to do a thing with dots on top of here, and obviously it's not working out, so I swirled it because when in doubt, swirl the top of your soap. It'll still come out pretty cool. No one doesn't like swirled soap, and I'm just gonna add a little bit more blue just because, Sonic. So there you go. That's my Sonic story. There we go. All right, we're gonna put this off to gel and cure overnight, and then we'll come back in a couple days to cut it. Okay, guys, we are back several days later to cut this Sonic themed soap. So it took a long time to come out of the mold, like a really, really long time, way longer than I was comfortable with. I don't know why that is, but there we go. Just shave off the end. See what we've got inside. There we go. That came out really pretty. All right. Okay, let's mark it and get it cut. Okay. All right, let's cut this puppy. Okay. So remember, this one is the Sonic soap. This is red shoes and gold coins. Like that. That came out really cool. All right, so I'm going to speed this up and then we'll show you what this looks like at the end. Okay, so a couple from the middle. Here we go. Ooh. All right, I don't know if you can see it, but I do have some glycerin rivers in there. I'm not too worried about it. It doesn't really take away from the aesthetic of the soap. And I'll tell you exactly what it is that caused it. A lot of titanium dioxide in that white. Because you can tell the glycerin rivers are only in the white anyway. But anyway, I'm okay with it. It's not going to affect the soap in really any noticeable fashion. But there we go. I think it came out pretty cool, and I am excited. Remember, these soaps are going to go live in the Etsy shop March 14th. We are going to be doing a really cool special thing for those of y'all who decide you want to purchase your soaps on March 14th on Pi Day, because I'm the first to get some epic soap. And other than that, if you liked this video, I hope you please give it a like or a thumbs up, share it, and then have an epic day.